Hi friends, welcome to my channel. We are going to do some preparation on AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate exam. So what we are going to do is this is a quiz or a sample test. So you can go with me through the question and answers. That this will help you to prepare really well for your exam. So without any delay, let's get started. Please hit a like on the channel, and the question number one is Amazon Web Services offers four different level of support. Which are the valid supports? So first is business, enterprise, developer. I think these are the three. Basic is not mentioned here, so that's not included. Second question, you're a solution architect working for a cosmetic company. Your company has a busy Magento online store that consists of two-tier architecture. The web servers are on EC2 instances deployed across multiple availability zone, and the database on the multi-AZ RDS MySQL database instance. Your store is having Black Friday sale in 5 day, and having reviewed the performance for the last sale, you expect the site to be start running very slowly during the peak load. Your investigation and you investigate and you determine that the database was struggling to keep up with the number of reads that the store was generating. Which solution would you implement to improve the application read performance? So whenever there is a read performance, always go with the read replica. So you can go with read replica in each availability zone because this is a multi-zone. You have launched a net instance in public subnet, and you have configured all relevant security group network ACLs and routing policies to allow net to function. However, EC2 instance is in the private subnet still cannot communicate out to the internet. What troubleshooting step should you take to resolve this? So this is disable source destination check on your net instance. Whatever answers, I don't know, I'll mark it as review and we'll cover it at end. But most of the questions which I'm pretty confident, I'll just pick the answer. For example, this. So by default, all the EC2 instances are monitored by CloudWatch. Using the default setting, how many minutes elapse time when metrics are sent to CloudWatch. Using the detailed option, how many minutes would you elapse between metrics being sent to CloudWatch? So let me explain you. Whenever there, AWS works on an event-driven architecture. So each thing happens as part of event, which is called as event bus or CloudWatch event. So in CloudWatch, you can monitor that the default frequency is 5 minutes, but if you will pay extra money, you can monitor that in 1 minute. That this question is about that. You are a solution architect working on an oil and gas company. They are moving their production environment to AWS and need a custom VPC into which to put it. You have been asked to create a public subnet. You created a VPC in the subnet bearing the CEDAR address range 10.0.1.0 slash mask is 24. Which of the following steps should you take to make this subnet public? So first thing, public means internet facing. So create a route in the route table of the subnet, allowing a route to internet gateway. So this is the first step. In AWS console, right click. I don't think there is something like attach an internet gateway to the VPC. Yes, because if your VPC does not have internet gateway, it won't even work. It won't even work means it will not connect with the internet at all. You manage a Ruby on Rails application that lives on a cluster of EC2 instance. Your website occasionally experience brief, strong, and un- entirely unpredictable spikes in traffic that overwhelms your EC2 instances, resources, and freeze the application. As a result, you're losing recently submitted requests from end user. You use auto scaling to deploy additional resources to handle the load during spikes, but the new instance don't spin up fast enough to prevent the existing application servers from freezing. Which of the following will provide the most cost effective solution in preventing the loss of recently submitted request? So there are several options. One is when your EC2 instances are getting the load, um, they are not able to um handle it. And then when you spin up new instances, by the time new instance is coming up, the existing node gets frozen, which means they become unresponsive. So you have to decouple the architecture by using SQS. That would be the best option. That way, whenever there is additional load, it would be stored in a queue, and as soon as new instances would come up, they would start processing that load. They'll consume those messages from the queue. When coding a routine to upload S3 When coding a routine to upload to S3, you have the option of using either single part upload or multi-part upload. Identify all the possible reason below to use multi-part upload. So first is multi-part upload delivers quick recovery from network issues. Multi-part upload delivers improved throughput. Let me explain you multi-part. You have a big file, let's a movie, which is about 25 GB. So if you will upload it as a single file, it will take time. So to do a multi-part upload, you can break it into 50 different streams. Now each stream will be hardly 500 MB. So that way, transferring 500 MB would be quick. It can probably be uploaded in a minute. So if you have 25 streams, within a minute, you can upload 25 GB file instead of uploading as a single file. That is what a multi-part upload is. You break it in a part. Multi-part upload deliver the ability to begin and upload before you know the file object size. That is true. Multi-part upload delivery delivers the ability to append data into an open file. Not sure. Multi-part upload delivers improved security in transit. Not sure. Actually, that is not true. Multi-part upload delivers the ability to pause and resume the object uploads. That is true. Bless me. Question number 8. DynamoDB has use cases. Let me adjust this. DynamoDB has many use cases. Which of the following are legitimate use cases? If you have to store JSON, go with DynamoDB. Storing web session and the metadata of blob stored in S3. You cannot store movies and pictures in DynamoDB, but if you have the S3 bucket link, you can retrieve it in DynamoDB and keep a handy key. So it will be very easy to retrieve based on the path of S3. You need to add a route to your routing table that will allow connection to the internet from your subnet. Which of the following routes should you add? Routing table. So whenever there is a destination which is going to 000.0, you would forward it to the internet gateway as target. You have been engaged by a company to design and lead a migration to an AWS environment. The team is concerned about the capabilities of the new environment, especially when it comes to high availability and cost effectiveness. So remember, they are talking about high availability and cost effectiveness. The design calls for about 20 instances, C3 2x large, pulling jobs messages from SQS network. So it would be pulling or pulling the jobs from SQS, and there are 20 instances. Network traffic per instance is estimated to be around 500 MB at the beginning and end of each job. Which configuration you should plan on deploy? Little bit complex question, but if we break it down, we know that there is SQS involved, it is getting consumed, there are 20 instances, and then they want high availability, which means it should be scattered, and cost effectiveness. So activate EBS optimization on the instance to maximize the network throughput. No. Choose a different instance type that is better matched with the traffic. Deploy a clustered placement group as the aggregated burst traffic could be around 10 GB. So here we get that the network throughput is really large here. So we might pick this option. Second network interface to separate the SQS traffic for the storage traffic. There is no second internet, like there is SQS is actually common, global or universal for all the regions. Spread the instance over multiple AZ to minimize the traffic concentration and maximize the fault tolerance. So if you spread the instance over multiple availability zone, that would make your application highly available and the traffic concentration and maximize the fault tolerance. So let's pick this. You work for a busy real estate company. You need to protect your data stored on S3 from accidental deletion. Which of the following actions might you take to choose this? Very first is enable versioning. So something is deleted, there is a marker you can undelete and configure a MFA protected API access so that uh, someone would have to put the second factor. So there is less likelihood of doing the accidental deletion. You need to restrict access to an S3 bucket. Which of the following methods can be used to do so? There is S3 permission and then there is policy. So there ACL, access control list, and bucket policies. Amazon Elastic Cache can fulfill a number of roles. Choose the operations from the following list which can be implemented using Elastic Cache for Redis. So Redis applies in memory, just Elastic Cache has Redis and Memcache, two implementers. And Redis provides a lot more facility than just in-memory data store. It allows publisher subscriber model and also sorted sets, but there is no relational data store in that. SQS keeps track of all tasks and events in an application. That is false. You have to keep track. SQS only puts up the messages. You run an automobile reselling company that has a popular online store on AWS. The application sits behind an auto scaling group and requires new instances of the auto scaling group to identify their public and private address. How this can be achieved? So there is a metadata endpoint on 169.254.169.254. By making this, you can get the instances, public, private IP instance type, and a lot of other details. That comes under metadata. To save money, you quickly stored some data on the root volume of an EC2 instance and stopped it for the weekend. When you return on Monday, and restarted your instance, you discovered that your data is gone. Why that might be? So if you are your root volume is instance store, then it will be gone. If it is EBS, then if you stop, it will, you can get that back. So the instance failed to connect to the root volume on Monday. The elastic block level storage failed. The root volume was ephemeral. That is what ephemeral block level storage. Data on instance store volume is lost if instance is stopped. The EBS volume was not large enough. You need a storage service that delivers the low latency access to data for a database running on single EC2 instance. Which of the following AWS storage services is suitable for this use case? You need a storage service that delivers the low latency, which means it should be really fast to access data from a database running on a single EC2 instance. Which of the following AWS storage service suitable for that? So AWS storage service, whenever they say storage service, what kind of data is it? Access to a data for a database running. You need a storage service for a database running in a single EC2 instance. So S3 is the storage service. Glacier is also the archived storage service. Because you need low latency from Glacier, it is slow to retrieve. For rapid retrieval, S3 is the one. And Amazon EBS is also, it's not a storage service actually, it is a block storage. I'm confused. Let's mark this here. Do they have the cost as parameter? No. I might go with EBS because that will prove to be faster than S3. You need to store some easily recreatable object on S3 with rapid access time and cost effectiveness in mind. So we need a cheaper solution and rapid access, quickly access, which S3 service you would choose. So if you go with S3 standard, it would cost more, but with S3 one zone, infrequent access, it would be cheaper. That way you can have rapid access as well. And in case if you lose data, this data can be recreated easily. So you'll save on cost that way. Which of the following service should you implement in multiple availability zone in order to achieve high availability? So EC2 and RDS, because rest of these are already global. DynamoDB and, I mean, not global, but you don't have to deploy it in particular region. They are available there. S3 is global, so you cannot do it in, no, actually I'm wrong. S3 bucket name is global, but you could do it in a region. But the question is asking, service should you implement in multiple availability zone? So region and zone are different. You cannot pick a zone in DynamoDB, SQS, and a simple storage service because they are serverless. Your AWS environment contains several on-demand Amazon EBS-backed EC2 instances dedicated to a project that has just been cancelled. Your supervisor does not want to incur charges for these on-demand instances, but also does not want to lose the data on the root volume, yet just yet, because there is a chance that the project may be revived in next few days. What should you do to minimize charges for these instances in the meantime? So you can just drop the instance, because since it is EBS backed, as soon as you start it again, you will get the same data. If you terminate, then everything would be gone. If you there is nothing like cutsy hold, and create AMIs for the instance and put them on marketplace is not a good idea. Keeping the IP on intellectual property on marketplace is not a good idea. How long can how long can a message be retained in SQS queue? So maximum is 14 days. Then it would get automatically deleted, and you can configure it as well. AWS intends to shut down your spot instances. Which of these scenarios is possible? First is they'll give you a notification for 120 seconds before force shutdown. You can delay it by sending delay 300. There is nothing like that. AWS sends this before shutdown. Yes. This one is true. And then this one is true. This is called as spot blocks. How many internet gateway can I attach to my VPC? Only one. You are a security architect working for a large antivirus company. The production environment has recently been moved to AWS and in a public subnet. You are able to view the production environment over HTTP. However, when your customers try to upload their virus definition files over a custom port, the port is blocked. You log into the console and you allow traffic in over the custom port. How long this will take effect? It will take immediately. Although your application customarily runs 30% usage, you have identified a recurring usage spike more than 90% between certain time, which is 8 a.m. to midnight. What is the most effective way to scale up? You should scale, you can schedule basically, because other option says deploy additional. This is not good. To keep unutilized resource, manual deployment, reactive event-based scaling, manually deploy reactive event-based scaling each night. So manually doing is not a good idea. Increase the size of resource group to meet the demand. That is not needed because you can boost it up. We'll see at the end also if this is wrong. We'll review all our wrong answers again. You have created a VPC that runs two EC2 in different availability zone. Both are running web servers hosted the same content. The web server will be accessible via the internet. Which of the following DNS configuration should you consider? So assign each EC2 instance with an elastic IP, configure Route 50 through a multi-value record with both the elastic IPs and health checks. Yeah, this is a good idea. Configure a NAT instance within your VPC. This is not even required, a NAT instance. Set up an application load balancer and place your instance behind this ELB. Yes. Configure the Route 53 alias record to point the resource of the application load balancer. Yes, this is good because Route 53 would allow the alias for the AWS resources directly. Set up an application load balancer and place your instances behind this. And then they are saying that Route 53 CNAME use public IP address of the application load balancer. Application load balancer works on domain name. There is no public IP, but you can buy a elastic IP and attach to it. Following advice from your consultant. You have configured your VPC to use dedicated hosting tenancy. Your VPC has an Amazon EC2 auto scaling designed to launch or terminate Amazon EC2 instance on a regular basis. In order to meet workload demand, a subsequent change to your application has been rendered the performance gain from the dedicated tenancy superfluous, and you would now like to recoup some of these greater costs. How do you revert the default hosting tenancy? Create AMIs for all your instances and use them to create new instance using default hosting. No, modify the instance tenancy attribute for your VPC from dedicated to default using CLI, SDK, and API. Yeah, this seems the best answer among all. Your security manager has hired a security contractor to audit your network and firewall configuration. The consultant doesn't have access to an AWS account. So this is important that consultant does not have access to AWS account. You need to provide the required access for auditing task and answer questions about login details for the firewall appliance. Which of the following you might do? So create a IAM role with a policy that can read security, group, and route. So IAM role is mainly attached to a device. Sometime if there is an existing user, they can also assume role on particular account. Explain the AWS is a cloud service that and AWS manage the network appliance. Yeah, but you manage the configuration and the audit is on security, right? Configuration. Create IAM role with the policy that can read security group and NACL settings. IAM role, I may have to unselect it. I am user with a policy that can read security group and route settings. Yeah, this should be the one. Explain AWS implement network security differently, and that there is no such thing as a firewall appliance. Security group and NACLs are used instead. Yeah, this is good. Create I am user with the policy that can read security group and NACL setting. This is good. So I would go here. So mainly security group and network access control list are the two places where you have to do any network setting. Route table is also there, but in general in route table you do not have rules which say allow or deny. So these are the two main things. You are building a NAT instance M3 medium in an M3 medium instance using AWS Linux distribution with Amazon Linux Extra installed. Which of the following you need to set? So when you're building a NAT instance, you have to disable the source and destination checks. You are reviewing change control request and you note that there is a change designed to reduce wasted CPU cycle by increasing the value of Amazon SQS visibility timeout attribute. What does this mean? Okay. While processing a message, a consumer instance can reset the message visibility. Not true. When a when a consumer instance retrieves a message, that message will be hidden from other consumers instance for a fixed period. Yeah, that is true. That is what the visibility timeout. When the consumer instance poll for new work, the consumer instance will wait a certain time until it has full load before closing the connection. While processing a message, consumer instance can amend the message visibility. When the customer instance pools for new work, the SQS service will allow it to wait a certain time for the message to be available. When a new message is added to the SQS queue, it will be hidden from the consumer instance for a fixed period of time. When while processing a message, a consumer instance B should be the right answer. Message will be hidden from other customers for a fixed consumers for a fixed time. That is what the visibility timeout. You have been asked to identify a service of AWS that is durable object storage. As soon as you see object storage, S3 is your answer. What does data formats use in cloud formation? It is JSON and YAML. You are reviewing change control request and you note that there is a proposed change designed to reduce error due to SQS eventual consistency by updating the delay seconds attribute. What does that mean? So delay second is if you have a message and for example, as soon as a message come, it might need some delay before it can be consumed, so you can configure the delay second. So the answer would be when the customer instance polls for the new work, the SQS service will allow it to wait to a certain time for a message to be available before closing the connection. You can pause and read all the other options. Which native AWS service will act as file system mounted on S3? It is File Gateway. It allows easier interface to save and retrieve data in S3. And you can use network NFS protocol and SMB protocol as well in that. With EBS, I can elastic block storage, I can encrypt an existing volume, create an encrypted snapshot from an unencrypted snapshot by creating an unencrypted copy of the unencrypted snapshot, create an unencrypted volume from an encrypted snapshot, create an encrypted volume from a snapshot of another encrypted volume. Select all the true about S3. So there are two kind of path. One is where you see S3 .com blah blah and then you see the path style. Second is virtual host style. It's just like a domain name. So you have bucket name dot blah blah blah. This is more preferred over the path style. You have been asked to deploy an application on a small number of EC2 instances. The application must be placed across multiple availability zones and should also minimize the chance of underlying hardware failure. Which of the following option would provide this solution? Means high availability and fault tolerance. Deploy EC2 in clustered placement group. Cluster would be in the one availability zone, not fault tolerant and highly available. Create a VPC with the tenancy type host. No. The appliance should be deployed as service. Deploy the EC2 servers in spread placement group. This is a good option. Your company likes the idea of storing the file on AWS. However, low latency service of the last few days of the file is important to customer service. Which storage configuration would you achieve to meet both these ends? So you will go with cache volume and then you can go with uh, low latency service for the last few days of the file. They are talking about storage gateway configuration. So you will pick this. So low latency would be given by volume gateway storage, and file storage would give you the S3 gateway. You have been engaged by a company to design and lead the migration to a AWS environment. An argument has broken out about how to meet future backups and archive requirements and how to transition. The security manager and CTO are concerned about backup continuously and the ability to continue the access old tape archives. There are old tape archives. The senior engineer is adamant that there is no way to retain the old backup solution in AWS environment and that they will lose access to all current archives. What information can you share that will satisfy both the party in a cost effective manner? So whenever you see tape, AWS provides the virtual tape options. They are asking for two correct answers, so we would pick these two. Meet both the parties, brief them about the AWS storage VTL solution, explain that it has initially been installed, and then you can read rest of the answer. You have been commissioned to develop a high availability application with the stateless web tier. Identify the most cost effective means of reaching this end. So, high availability application with stateless web tier, I would always go with DynamoDB. Let's see what are the options. Use ELB, auto scaling group, on demand. No. So what you should do is first you would go with auto scaling group of EC2 spot instance running in tandem with auto scaling group secondary with DynamoDB. That way, if primary load will be taken up by spot instances, but if spot instance disappear in 120-second notice, then you have a backup or a secondary, which is the on-demand instance. So, or in short, you can say when spot instance is not available, then you will spin up the on-demand instance. That would save the cost. And since it's just a web application, stateless, it more might not have that much impact. You are reviewing change control request and you note that there is a change designated to reduce cost by updating the Amazon SQS wait time second attribute. What does that mean? So this is called as the delay queue. When customer instance retrieves a message, that message will be hidden. When a new message is added to the SQS queue, it will be hidden from customer instance for a fixed time. You can read about delay queues. That is what this question is all about. You are you are student you are a student currently learning about the different AWS service. Your employer asks you to tell him a bit about Glacier service. Which of the following best describes it? It is infrequently accessed data and data archival. And our last question for this prep quiz is, you have been asked to decouple the application by using SQS. The application dictates that message on the queue can be delivered more than once, but must be delivered in the order they have arrived while reducing the number of empty responses. Which of the following you will do? So first thing is FIFO. There is a standard queue and the first in first out. That would have the sequence. Now they also want you not to waste the CPU cycles. You will go with long polling. This should be the answer. Let's finish and see. Hope we'll pass. 70% is the passing score. And there we go, we got 95%. Congratulations. What are the incorrect answers? Let's review. So this is the one: when a message is added to SQSQ, it will be hidden from the consumer. This was wrong. The right is, when the consumer instance pulls for new work, SQS service will allow it to wait a certain time for one or more messages to be available before closing the connection. And the other wrong answer was, oops, this is the same question and we picked the other answer. Like for the delay queue we picked that, which is delay seconds, so we inverted, but that's fine. Congratulations. I mean, we passed this exam and you will pass too. So work hard, you can pause, you can review this quiz. This is really helpful for you to get the study material for AWS certified exam. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment with the feedback and I will see you in the next video. Thanks. My name is Prem Aseem Jain and I am a certified cloud architect.